The Sarasota County Branch NAACP will host its 32nd Annual Freedom Award Banquet themed NAACP Forward, which will be held on Thursday, October 5th at 6 p.m. at the Sarasota Hyatt Regency. The event is the local organization's only fundraiser of the year and gives the branch the opportunity to honor citizens and organizations for their outstanding contributions to the community. Representing the organization on today's program, Ms. Cynthia Howard and Ms. Siobhan Reed. Well, ladies, it's that time again. You know, whenever you get two of you together, we know it's time for the annual Freedom Awards Banquet
Yes, it is.
of the Sarasota County Branch of the NAACP.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It's great to be back. Thank you for having
Good
us.
to be here.
How many years have we been doing the banquet? I know how old the branch is.
Right. This year is the 32nd Freedom Awards Banquet.
And Freedom Awards Banquet. Awards and banquet. Tell me about that. Somebody.
We will be presenting awards to individuals, organizations, and businesses in the community who help make Sarasota a great place to live. And of course, with the word banquet, that means there will be a meal attached to it.
People
Yes.
like meals.
And
Something about that.
what about either great entertainment or a speaker? One or the other.
One or the other. There will not be a speaker this year, but we do have some entertainment for you, and we're going to wait till the night of the event to announce that.
Oh, you're going to
It's going to be a great surprise. Yeah, the music this year will be a great surprise.
Great
And an
surprise.
added feature.
Okay, I smile because there's another character running around these United States who thinks everything he does is great. But it can't be as great as the Sarasota County Branch NAACP.
That's correct. Yes.
That's right.
You've got many categories and of people and organizations and who have met that criteria, that wonderful things for the community,
Right.
the movement.
Moving.
So let's talk about some of those categories.
Sure. One of the categories is a Rising Star Award, and that's when the NAACP recognizes a youth in the community who has made significant contributions, accomplishments also in school, GPA, involvement in the community, and church or whatever it may be, but have great aspirations and have a path to great destiny.
Rising Star.
The Rising Star.
And then go forth and prosper.
Then there's Go Forth and Prosper. We started that about 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was 2015. We wanted to recognize the accomplishments of our youth who have gone on to college. They've received an education and have returned to the community to begin working, helping to make a difference here. So we call it Go Forth, which they've done, and they're prospering now back into the community.
You just didn't put the return in.
Yes. Go for
Prosper
return and prosper.
and return.
Yeah.
Come
yeah.
back.
Yes. Yes.
I was thinking of something. I know a former Rising Star has a brother who is receiving this year the Go Forth and Prosper Award.
That's correct.
Mark Robinson.
Art. Yes. Yes.
And his sister was the second recipient, I believe, of the Rising Star.
Carter.
Yeah, I remember that, Carter.
Yes.
Carter and Mark.
Right.
Yes. Yes. The Robinsons.
Yeah. And guess what?
What?
They both have risen,
They've gone forth.
gone forth, and prospered,
Prospering,
Yeah.
and one has returned.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about Mark? I say that because he taught at M.E.E. Booker
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Elementary School in his initial job when he came back to the community.
Yeah.
And now he's doing something else.
Yeah. Well, Mark Robinson is absolutely a multi-talented, intellectual, and creative artist. He graduated from Booker High School, went on to get his degree at Florida State University in English Literature and Humanities. And as we discussed, he came back here, which was awesome, contributing to his community, you know, working at M.E. Booker, teaching fourth grade. I believe it was fourth grade. And one of the things that a lot of people recognize about Mark is that he came up with a great concept to help kids learn and prepare for the FSA testing in English and reading. And he changed one of a rapper's song.
Okay.
Yeah, and he created his own song and own lyrics to help them remember the structure of how to write and prepare for the test. And so that made it on the news, and it was a big deal here locally, but it was something that impacted the community and the youth in the school.
Well, it was a big deal because it was designed to help the children learn.
Right.
It kind of went, as you would say, into their element,
Right.
if you will.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because that's the
And-
world of youth. They love music, and Mark does just that. He combines his love for music and, you know, education, and he uses it in the classroom and in the community.
And you said that project had a kind of rap to the music.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh,
They did a video for it and everything. Like,
Yeah.
principal got involved, teachers got involved. It was a good thing for the community, truly.
most importantly, it was good for the kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure enough.
Now, one of the organizations, community organizations, I was kind of intrigued because it said something about they do what they do, or they got organized for God and the community. Who is that and what is that?
Is that?
Habitat for
Oh
Humanity.
yeah, Habitat
Yeah.
for Humanity. Yeah, Habitat for Humanity Sarasota really focus on housing for the community and people who can't really afford it, but public housing and things like that. You know, making it affordable for them.
And one of the things that Habitat does so well, because when you're involved in your gift that you're receiving,
Right.
you kind of appreciate it just a
A
little
little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And all the recipients of Habitat Homes have spent some hours working on someone else's Habitat home,
Correct. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
or theirs, and helping to build these homes. And then the fun part is when it's all put
Yes.
together
Yes.
and it, you know, and done, and they go and they're presented the keys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. And the great thing about the organization too is that they have counseling for people to help them, you know, maintain their mortgage, et cetera. So, in moving forward, they're going to establish over the next 4 years, adding on 66 more housing for the community.
Then the Lifetime Achievement Award. That, the person you're honoring this year, I believe, is also happens to be a member of the, not only a member of the branch, but a member of the executive committee.
Correct. That would be Joanne Martin Hughes. Yes.
I remember one year you all took the youth to New York, I believe,
Yes. Yes, we did.
where Mrs. Hughes' brother
Her brother,
is a judge.
a judge in New York, yes. And he invited the youth to come to his office. We were in chambers, and we had an opportunity to sit and see one of the proceedings and how a trial runs. You know, they had the defense attorney and the
Yeah.
prosecutors there. And it was very interesting, and the children, they're not kids anymore, really enjoyed seeing a different aspect, something that they've never experienced before. So it was a great experience.
And that was in New York.
That was in New
and
York.
Many folk don't realize, I think, Mrs. Martin Hughes, she was Miss Martin, and she came, is from New York.
Is from New York. She's a native of Brooklyn, New York. And she became in the movement when she went off to college at, I think it was Florida Memorial at the time, in St. Augustine, Florida. And she had the opportunity to meet Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and was really inspired when she heard him speak, and she wanted to become involved. And she and a group of students did.
She was involved.
She was definitely involved.
Let me tell you about that.
Yes, okay.
Florida Memorial is interesting for many reasons. Our theme song for Black Almanac, Lift Every Voice and Sing,
Right.
was written by two brothers, J. Rosman Johnson and James Weldon Johnson, who was a poet, attorney, and many, many other things. He also was an ambassador from the United States to some country, I can't remember. And at a time when they were going to do a program, he was in Jacksonville at that time, celebrating Abraham Lincoln and his relationship as it was with black folk going back from the beginning. At Stanton High School, now it's called New Stanton High School. You know, put the new on it.
Right.
But the old was all right with me. I had an opportunity to go to Stanton High School when I was a student at Booker High School, and we had a band festival at Stanton in Jacksonville.
Right.
But anyway, James Weldon Johnson wrote what was to be a poem for the program, which was Lift Every Voice and Sing. And he called his brother, J. Rosman Johnson, who was a musician, and said, we need some music for this. And being as brilliant as they were, we came up with what I like to call, and so many others who aren't ashamed,
Right.
the Negro National Anthem.
Right.
But you know, and I think we should know that.
Yes.
Now let's
that's
talk
correct.
to Ms. Hughes again, why you honor her. I don't know all the reasons you honor her, but at Florida Memorial College, it was college then,
Right, right.
it has since moved to Miami. The reason it moved to Miami, they were very, very active in the civil rights movement. Mrs. Hughes was one of those students who was arrested during the civil rights movement.
Yes, that's right.
And the community was so upset, the white community, with the movement, because there is a black dentist. He died recently. Hayden someone, I can't think. But anyway, he was president of that chapter, St. Augustine chapter of the NAACP. And he was involved with, like you all are, the youth chapter as well as the
Sure.
old folks chapter.
The adults.
Old folks.
Anyway, I can say that because I'm an old folk. Anyway, one night, Dr. Hayden became aware where the Klan was meeting, and he believed that many of the people who were involved some were his patients and some were other public officials, because interestingly, he served black and white patients,
Okay.
and that was okay. But you're not supposed to fight for your rights. And so he kind of slipped down to where it was because he wanted to see them. Someone saw him and beat him to an inch of his life. And then they started Florida Memorial. They refused to allow deliveries to Florida Memorial of food that they pay for. No one's giving them anything. And then the black community started cooking so that the students would have food who were there.
Wow.
They decided they hadn't punished them enough for going out, disturbing their tranquility. So they turned off the electric. Then it was time to move. So the college, and that's how Florida Memorial left St. Augustine and got to Miami.
Miami. Wow.
So Ms. Hughes is really, really a freedom fighter
Yes, she is.
and deserves that award. And
I'm glad you shared that piece of information because when we were interviewing her, when she talked about being arrested, for me, I was like, what?
yeah,
Wait a minute, stop the camera. What happened?
not you.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how it was. Like, not you. Not
Quiet,
no.
unassuming Joanne, yeah.
So it's
But-
awesome to hear her talk about that.
But every so often, someone will do something so egregious
Yeah.
Yeah.
that it makes you just stand up and say, no
Right.
more.
That's right. You stand up
That's
for
right.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And who else is being, you usually the President's Awards.
The President's Awards will be going to James Taylor, SURE, which is Sarasota United for Responsibility and Equity, and Manatee Rural Health Services Incorporated.
Well, if you all share with our audience a little bit about those organizations, I'd like to share something about Mr. Taylor.
SURE started a few years ago when pastors in the community came together to talk about issues involving the community and what they could do to make a difference. They started the civil citations as a means of keeping our juveniles out of the system. If they, for minor infractions, instead of them having to go through the justice system, they worked out a program, civil citations, that would avoid them having to go through the court system, therefore getting a record, and then when it's time to go off to college or to do something or get a job, they would have a record that would prevent them from moving forward in their life. So they were very instrumental in getting that in the Sarasota County court system. And they also did, what was it called? Sure.
Well,
The Comprehensive Treatment Court as well for the homeless in our community, making it possible for them to get what's known as wraparound services
Right.
and not just be arrested for being homeless, but getting them help.
Yeah.
And they worked with the court system to make that happen.
And that was because of correlation with mental health things, right?
Right.
That could be a
Correct.
factor to someone being homeless. So that's good.
and that's exceptional because Sarasota County has shown that it really doesn't give a darn for the most part about homeless people.
Right.
It fights with
Yes.
the city on every issue, and some reason they think because they're a county administration that the city should be subservient to them.
Right.
Yeah.
And they all are servants of the people.
Or
If
should be.
not,
Yeah.
they'll be like the current president, and then they'll be having some issues with grand juries investigating. But that's a story for another time, another thing. And you all didn't come for that. And I want to tell the audience, hey, they didn't do it. They're just captive of me right now. they are good. Now,
Well, another recipient of the President's Award is the Manatee County Rural Health Services. And they were established back in 1978. They opened their first doors in the 80s, and then transitioned to where now they have 27 facilities, 8 pharmacies, 6 administrative buildings, and 2 mobile units. And basically they provide medical services for the community in 15 different areas of service, some being, you know, your daily routine, your OBGYN to dentistry, etc.
And eyes.
And eyes, yes, correct.
And I believe they may be doing something in Arcadia in conjunction with another group.
I think that's the
surprised 'cause
plan.
expansion,
Yeah,
yeah.
it has grown.
They're constantly growing.
You know, one of the things that many folk probably don't know, that Mr. Mickey Prichet,
Thank you, appreciate it.
who's
Yeah.
involved from an old family in Manatee County, a black family, is the founder and head of that organization from its beginning, and he's nurtured it and grown it to where
Where
it is today.
That's right.
And because it's called Manatee Rural Health, they're all over the place.
Right.
They're not just in the rural communities.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Part of what they do is serve underserved
Underserved.
communities.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I don't think people realize that they are the largest federally qualified medical centers in the southeastern region of the United States. You know, 650 employees. Like, yeah, they're doing well and serving
very
over
well, yeah.
550,000, you know, clients who go in throughout a year. So they're doing well.
yeah,
Yeah.
for the community.
Yes,
For the
exactly.
community.
For the community.
You have to explain that because someone is saying, you're doing well, doing too well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we know what well means when we see it impacting the people that you serve.
I
You know,
agree.
you're providing help. Yeah, so you're right.
And Mr. James Kill,
Mr. James.
Yes.
he's been around for some time. He moved here some years ago when Barnett Bank was here. And he's gone through a couple of banks and whatever, but his community service is beyond reproach. And another organization, United Negro Colleges, and the United Negro College Fund, I say that because they're like the NAACP
Right.
in some of the kind of things that they do in serving the community. Well, he was largely responsible for getting them off the ground in Sarasota, Manatee counties.
Correct.
And he's been doing that, helping people for all these many years. And sometimes we don't know
That's true.
the sponsors of our goodness,
Yeah.
and sometimes we don't care. So it's important that too often we don't care.
Right.
So it's important that the NAACP, in addition to serving the people as it does in so many areas, that it has this banquet to recognize it.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the things that folks should know about that, the NAACP only has one fundraiser a year.
That's it.
They're not like walking around with baskets
Right.
asking. They provide it, and that's the major fundraiser. So, if you like what the NAACP does, and who couldn't help, and I know there are people who will come to me sometimes and say, I called the NAACP because, and nobody answered the phone. I said, well, did you leave a message? No. Well, why didn't you leave a message? Because I need help right now. I say, well, right now would be to leave the message. Someone would, they retrieve the messages, and they will get back to you
Certainly.
Well, in St. Petersburg, they have somebody in office there all the time. I say, yeah, in St. Petersburg, they have a lot of volunteers.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, and in Hillsborough
Different.
County, they have a lot of volunteers.
Right.
Would you like to volunteer when they help you?
Let's fill the need.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can be there to answer the phone just a couple hours a day and take the message for the next person.
That's true. That's true.
Don't you
good,
love the
Dr.
people you
James.
serve?
Oh, don't we? Don't we?
So let's talk about this banquet. When?
The banquet is Thursday, October 5th at the Sarasota Hyatt. The reception begins at 6 o'clock and the program will begin at 6:30 p.m. Tickets are still available. There are seats still available, and you can call the office at 941-355-2097, or you can email us at sarasotaNAACP@msn.com.
Okay, now some people didn't have their pencil there.
Okay.
So let's do it again. Now they got it.
Okay. The phone number 941-355-2097. The email address is sarasotaNAACP@msn.com.
And you will get a chance to see some of our community heroes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we didn't list all of them.
There are two others, Community Services, Valerie Bouchon,
Oh, yeah.
and our
Yeah.
Education Award will be going to Lucille Mobley.
Well,
Yes.
Mrs. Mobley
Yes.
and Mrs. Bouchon, they all are special in their own rights in the
right.
things that they do. And if we had more time, we could go into great, deeper detail about all of them. But
Here we
last
are.
time, the date.
Thursday, October
October
5th, 2017, Sarasota Hyatt. 6:30 p.m. is when the program will begin.
Well, what I'm going to do is thank you all for coming
Thank you for having
and tell the audience that I want them to do as always, have a great day, but we'll be out of here right after this special message from the NAACP.
Thursday, October 5th at Hyatt Sarasota as we pay tribute to individuals and organizations from our community. Get your tickets today, 941-355-2097.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetzy. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.